Now, after Daniel Dubois stops Trevor Bryan in the fourth round via a left hook, he went on to call out or say that names like Dillian Whyte and Joseph Parker are on my hit list. Now, I'm not surprised one bit he went on to call these two fighters out, especially Dillian Whyte, because that fight makes a lot of sense. Now, let's talk about Dillian Whyte first. Dillian Whyte is a fighter whose punch resistance has regressed tremendously since the Anthony Joshua fight, in my opinion. Ever since he was knocked out by Anthony Joshua, he suffered knockdowns by Joseph Parker. He was knocked out by Alexander Povektin and, a one-punch KO loss against Tyson Fury. So that would probably inspire confidence in Daniel Dubois. Another reason Dubois would want to fight Dillian Whyte is because he is a very big puncher. He is very heavy-handed, and it only makes sense if you put someone whose punch resistance has been declining, since 2015, and someone who's a big puncher. You'd have to probably favor the big puncher, in his ability to get to Dillian Whyte. Not that I think necessarily that he would beat Dillian Whyte. I think there are a few things that Dillian Whyte could do to offset Daniel Dubois' power. But, he's definitely growing in confidence. He's a big heavyweight, and, he's making many adjustments with Shane McGuigan to improve his game. The Dillian Whyte fight is just such a big domestic fight. You've got two English guys. I guess you could label one as a veteran now in Dillian Whyte and one as a prospect in Daniel Dubois. If he were to go on to beat Dillian Whyte, then he would transition from a prospect to a legitimate contender. He would be someone knocking on the door, even against your AJs and your Usyks, and obviously we don't know the situation with Tyson Fury, and Deontay Wilder is yet to return, but, he would really be knocking on the door for a big fight against, your other top guys. You could probably even put him in there with Joe Joyce again, but I wouldn't put him in there against Joyce too quick. I feel like he does need to make a few more improvements before he would, go on to rematch a Joyce. Maybe they feel like, there's no need to put him in there against Joyce because of what happened in the first fight. But yeah, and I guess you could say the same thing about the Joseph Parker fight. Joseph Parker is also someone I guess you consider a veteran. He's someone who's fought a lot of top guys, such as your Anthony Joshua. He was relatively competitive in the Joshua fight. He was very competitive against Dillian Whyte. He's trained numerous of times, in the Tyson Fury camp. So he's someone who has a lot of ability, specifically his hand speed. Joseph Parker has very good hand speed in my opinion. And I believe his hand speed may be the reason Joshua chose to box Joseph Parker and move against him rather than, engage on the inside. Because Joseph Parker, in terms of his hand speed, he's very athletic. He's definitely one of the faster heavyweights in terms of his hand speed. I don't know if his hands are as quick as, an Andy Ruiz. Ruiz at the top level probably has the best hand speed, and you would also say someone like Deontay Wilder also has tremendous hand speed, but Joseph Parker is definitely up there in terms of hand speed in the heavyweight division. So if Daniel Dubois was able to make a fight against Joseph Parker, it would be a very big fight because the British boxing fans are very familiar with Joseph Parker because he fought guys like Derek Chisora, who was loved in England. He fought Anthony Joshua, and he fought Dillian Whyte. So that fight does make a lot of sense when you really think about it. And if Daniel Dubois was also able to beat Joseph Parker, once again, that would really elevate him and establish him as a legitimate contender in the heavyweight division. Who do you guys think would be a more impressive victory on Daniel Dubois' resume? Do you think it would be a Dillian Whyte or a Joseph Parker? Some people might say, oh, it's Dillian Whyte because, Dillian Whyte beat Joseph Parker. Dillian Whyte's probably got a better resume. So that may be a good point. But Joseph Parker, again, even in all of his losses, he's been, I would say, competitive. He's beaten Derek Chisora a couple of times. He had to go through a lot to get past Chisora, but, in both fights he was able to deal with Chisora's pressure, which can be difficult. Remember, Chisora was able to have, a little bit of success against Usyk. Obviously, Usyk in the middle to later rounds pulled away, was clearly winning the fight. So some people did think it was a robbery. Some people, I think, were complaining about the decision and gave Chisora and said Chisora should have won the fight. But obviously, I think Usyk won the fight, by a fair few rounds. But, some people were complaining and said it should have went to Derek Chisora. So once again, guys, let me know what you think in the comments below. Were you impressed with Daniel Dubois' knockout against Trevor Bryan? Were you disappointed with Trevor Bryan's performance? Because a few people I've seen have said that, it was a very uninspiring performance from Trevor Bryan, that he didn't look like he had a lot left in him, that they were just disappointed in him. They wanted him to be a little bit more savvy, that maybe he was a bit too negative, that he should have put it on Daniel Dubois just a little bit more. But keep in mind, Daniel Dubois is very heavy-handed, and this is not like the welterweight division. I made a video titled "The Heavyweight Division is Crazy." We saw what a Lucas Brown was able to do against Junior Fa in a really brutal big knockout. Any punch that lands clean, in any weight class, but especially the heavyweight division, can be costly and it could knock you out. So that's probably why Trevor Bryan was negative. He wasn't quite able to beat Daniel Dubois, but he tried his best, and that's all you can do, I guess. So, once again, guys, let me know what you think in the comments below about Trevor Bryan's performance. Don't forget to like and subscribe, because most of my viewers aren't subscribed. So come on, guys, let's hit the subscribe button. Like the video, comment on the video. It's good for the algorithm. It helps me out. Alright, peace.